Welcome to the Explainer. So, have you ever wondered how you could take a powerful AI and make it an expert on, well, your stuff, your own private data? Today, we're going to dive into something called LightRAG, a framework that's both simple and incredibly powerful, and it does exactly that.
We're going to tackle this just like a developer would. First, we'll pinpoint the core problem that LightRAG is designed to solve. Then we'll see how it actually works, get our hands dirty with a quick project, check out its power tools, and finally, see the proof, why it's a real winner.
All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start with a fundamental challenge that pretty much every AI developer runs into sooner or later. It's that moment you realize even the smartest models out there have this huge, gaping blind spot.
I mean, think about it for a second. A model like GPT-4 is incredibly intelligent, right? But its knowledge comes from the public internet. So it knows nothing about your private class notes, your company's internal documents, or an article that was literally published yesterday. That's its blind spot.
So the standard fix for this is a technique called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. The absolute best way to picture it is like giving the AI an open book exam. Before it tries to answer your question, it gets a chance to look up all the key facts from the documents you've given it.
But here's the thing, just grabbing a random page of text and showing it to the model, well, that doesn't always cut it for really tough questions. So let's move on and see how LightRAG offers a much more advanced and, frankly, a much smarter way to solve this.
Okay, so this is the secret sauce of LightRAG. It doesn't just fetch chunks of text. Instead, it acts like this brilliant research assistant. You know, it's the difference between just handing someone a textbook versus giving them a tutor who's already mapped out how all the ideas connect. LightRAG actually builds a knowledge graph, a kind of mind map that understands how all the people, places, and ideas in your documents are related.
The whole process kicks off with something called indexing. When you feed your documents into LightRAG, it doesn't just file them away. It actively reads through them, pulls out all the key things, like people, companies, events, and figures out the relationships between them. That's how it builds that amazing knowledge graph.
And then, this is where the magic really happens. When you ask a question, LightRAG doesn't just search the text. It queries both the raw text and that interconnected knowledge graph. What that does is give the language model a much, much deeper sense of context, which lets it generate answers that are way more on point and accurate.
So this all sounds pretty powerful. And you might be thinking, okay, this has got to be complicated. But what's so cool about this, especially if you're a student or just starting out, is how easy it is to get going. You can literally get a demo up and running with just 4 simple commands in your terminal. And a little pro tip here, the project recommends using UV to manage all the code packages. It's a great call because it's insanely fast and makes dealing with dependencies so much less of a headache. And the code itself? Just as simple. You basically just create a LightRAG object, use a method called ainsert to feed it your text, and then ask your question with a query. That's really it. It's so clean, so intuitive, and it lets you get to the fun part of actually building your app right away. Okay, let's move on from that simple demo and see how you can build something real with this. Once you've got the basics down, LightRAG has this entire suite of advanced features that let you build some seriously impressive, real-world applications.
Now, this is absolutely crucial for any serious project: flexibility. LightRAG isn't stuck with just one type of database. This means you can start super simple, maybe with just local files for a class project, and then scale all the way up to using enterprise-level tools like PostgreSQL or Neo4j as your app gets bigger.
Oh, and it gets even better. It's not just for text. It's multimodal, so it can handle PDFs and images. It plugs into debugging tools like LangFuse, so you can actually see what's going on under the hood. It even has these things called re-rankers that make your search results better. And, maybe most importantly, you get to choose your AI model. You can use OpenAI, or you can use open source models that you run right on your own computer.
All these features are great for sure, but they all lead to the million-dollar question: do they actually make a real difference? So let's take a look at the data and see how LightRAG stacks up against the competition. Right. This is the bottom line, isn't it? If you're a developer picking a tool, you need to know, does all this extra intelligence from the knowledge graph actually give you better, more accurate answers than the simpler ways of doing things?
Well, the results really do speak for themselves. When it was put to the test against other popular RAG techniques like NaiveRAG, which just pulls simple text chunks, LightRAG consistently won. We're talking across different kinds of data, from agriculture to computer science to law. It just delivered better, more complete answers.
Let's take the legal world, for example, which is notoriously complex and tricky. In a direct head-to-head comparison, LightRAG had over an 84% win rate against the simpler methods. That's not just a tiny improvement, that is a massive leap in quality. And it all comes back to that smarter, graph-based approach to actually understanding the information.
So what does all this really mean? It means that by pairing a powerful language model with a deep, structured understanding of your data, LightRAG opens up a whole new world of possibilities for intelligent apps. It gives you the tool to turn any pile of documents into a genuine expert. So the only real question left is, what knowledge are you going to unlock first?